Here lies John, my dear, late, lamented friend. I know he wished he could be here before the end. John was a fun man, a giving man, too. He wanted to share his body parts with you.
That's not weird.
John was a jolly man with a great big gut. Let's pass around his intestines, just your luck.
Okay.
Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. Twisted and shriveled in a bunch, just like they were after his lunch.
Oh. I gotta wash my hands after this. Miss Leonhardt, from here. Oh, don't wash on me. Miss Leonhardt. Oh,
Way to ruin it, hey, Claire. It's all your fault.
It's
all your fault.
It's wet noodles.
I'm ready. Okay.
His skin was fair, almost pure. Let's pass around a piece, no need to fright. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. Pretty greasy and dirty, he lived in a cave. He never really had time to bathe. So now you get to feel cold, dead skin.
I think it was.
I thought that was your hand.
Sure. That's gone.
That's one of those
Class!
Yes.
Remember, we have to stay quiet, or else it's not going to work. One eyeball went left, one eyeball went right. See, poor John had very bad sight. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. Handle them gently as they roll. John wouldn't like it if they fell from the bowl.
Oh, God.
Don't drop the eyeball.
Oh!
I grabbed it.
Sorry.
I should have squeezed one then.
Drop the eyeballs. Do not drop the eyeballs.
Now John wasn't class.
Yes.
This isn't going to work. Now John wasn't a very smart man. We found his brain stuffed in a can. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. You'll feel there isn't much to them. Shows the kind of man he's been.
No, stop watching some of me.
Oh, it smells nice. It smells nice.
Quit swinging your hand, Tyler.
It touched my nose. It smells good.
It smells good. It smells like cherries.
Ew, my finger.
Some got my mouth.
Where'd you hype it at, Todd?
It smells good. Who said that?
Okay, here we go. We're moving on.
Now one thing John wasn't was bald. He had a nice head of hair, I'm told. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. Slimy. Just nice and fuzzy to the touch. I said he had some, but not that much.
The smart, you're enjoying this.
Just like Van Gogh, he had only one ear. He'd always heard just fine and perfectly clear. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. It's shriveled, a little shriveled because of its age, but an ear nonetheless, it says on this page.
Murphy died. It feels like.
You guys are enjoying this. Just love to see us. I had to touch that junk. I had to touch that catnip. Aubrey, are you enjoying this?
The last thing we found were John's strong hands. We took off his fingers to pass around. Fresh from the grave, wet and cold, just a little slimy, just a little old. Cold and stiff as they are when he died. Go ahead, shake one, or you think that I'll lie.
He's got little bitty hands.
With all of his pieces back safe and sound, it's time to put him back in the ground. So now that you've met my dear lamented friend, that brings this haunting to an end. There's still fingers being passed around.
Wait till we're done with the fingers.
And they live happy.
That
Grad's like, this is unhappy.
Thank goodness that was
Stuff like.
Tickle.
I gotta wash my hands after this.
I don't need to wash my hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat lunch with like weird hands.
I'm not.
Yellow Alex.
What's your name?